Hey, Dr. Smith here again. I want to say thanks for clicking on that last video and submitting your information for your free report. You're going to receive a free report and a free DVD. The DVD is about 2 hours long, so I suggest you get out a pen and paper. But I'll tell you what, the information contained in there will absolutely change your life. So learn from it. Learn as much as you can. Now, what I want to talk about briefly in this video is how does thyroid actually work? 9 times out of 10 when a patient comes to our clinic, they tell me, well, my doctor never explained it to me. He showed me my blood work, he said, it looks like it's all right in the normal ranges and you're fine, or here's your medication, we'll see you in 6 months. Never explained them how it works. So most of our patients have no clue how thyroid actually works. So what we're going to do here in this short video is just take a few minutes to teach you about thyroid. Learn how it works. It'll surprise you. Now, the biggest mistake doctors make when addressing a patient is they do not run the proper tests and do not come up with the proper diagnosis for a patient. This may surprise you, but there's not 2 forms of low thyroidism. There's 7 different forms. And if you're not properly tested or properly diagnosed, you're treating the wrong thing. And you may be sitting here watching this video wondering, well, I wonder if that's me because I'm not getting any better. I can't lose weight despite exercise, despite diet. My hair's still falling out. I can't sleep. I'm tired all the time. Well, guess what that means? It means you're misdiagnosed. All right? Let's learn about that. There's one form of hyperthyroidism or overactive thyroid. That's called Graves' disease. What that means is your thyroid is working too hard, too fast. It overworks and produces too many hormones. As a result of that, the patients are typically very skinny, they're energetic, they bounce off the walls, their mind won't slow down, they can't sleep because their mind's just racing all the time. That's a hyperthyroid patient. Now here's the surprising fact. There are 6 forms of low thyroidism. In the book that I've written called Natural Thyroid Care, in Chapter 5, it talks about the 6 forms of this. Most doctors improperly diagnose an underactive thyroid patient because they don't run all of the tests. Now I'll tell you what those tests are. The first one is the TSH test. Most patients understand that test, or they've heard of it, because that's the gold standard that the doctor uses to diagnose thyroid. Well, let me tell you something. That is one test out of the 8 tests required to diagnose you. Okay? TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone. T4, that's another number that we have to have. T3, another number that we have to have. These are the 2 actual hormones that your thyroid produces once it's told to make them. Free T4 and free T3. Those are the hormones that your body can actually utilize. Okay, now I'll explain that in just a minute. Free thyroxine index. That's a number that tells us whether or not your thyroid system is functioning as a whole or not. Okay? T3 uptake, or T3U. That tells us whether your body actually wants the hormones, whether it's actually taking the hormones in. And the last one is TPO AB, or thyroid peroxidase antibodies. That's an antibody test for your thyroid that diagnoses you with Hashimoto's disease, which is the single most common form of low thyroidism. You see, there's 6 forms of it. Most doctors incorrectly treat type 1. They just label everybody as type 1. They say, oh, your blood work's doing okay. Here's your medication. I'll see you in 6 months. Guess what? You don't get any better. That's because you're misdiagnosed. So let's discuss thyroid, and let's discuss how it works. Now, this may surprise you, but the first step in thyroid function, step number 1, occurs in the part of the brain called the hypothalamus. So let's just write that out here. Hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is right up here in the parietal lobe. Here's a picture of a brain. The parietal lobe is this top purple part you see right here. That's where the hypothalamus is. And the hypothalamus's job is to detect how much T4 is in the system, and if there's not enough, it will send a signal down to another part of the brain called the pituitary. This is step number 2. So let's write pituitary. Now, the pituitary has a lot of functions. The biggest job it has, though, is to tell your thyroid to start working. And it does so because it is the one part of your body that actually makes TSH. Thyroid stimulating hormone, or that one test your doctor did on you, that is produced in your brain. It's produced in a part of the brain called the temporal lobe. That's where the thyroid lives, right here in this green portion. Now, along with the pituitary, the temporal lobe also controls things like memory. So if you're sitting there wondering why you have brain fog all the time, it's because your temporal lobe is not functioning. Your temporal lobes are right here on the ears, right on the either side of the head. That's where your pituitary lives. Your pituitary's job is to send a signal down to another part of the brain called the cerebellum. The cerebellum is kind of a control for the brain. It takes the information from the brain and sends it down the brainstem. Your cerebellum is right here, right at the base of the brain, so it's right at the back of the head. That's what sends the information down to your thyroid and tells it to work. So your cerebellum is what tells the actual thyroid to work. So here's the thyroid. So 3 steps have to happen before your thyroid is even told to do anything. And all 3 of those steps come from what part of the body? The brain. And I guarantee you most people watching this video have never had their brain examined. So when our patients come in for an initial consultation, that's one of the first things we do is a very simple brain exam or a neurology exam. Something similar to what you would have done at a neurologist's. That tells us if the brain is involved in your thyroid dysfunction. Now, let's assume thyroid is working. So I'm going to erase this and show you how it actually occurs. So here's the thyroid gland way up here. Now, once your pituitary tells your thyroid to make hormones, it's going to make 2 hormones, T4 and T3. Those are the 2 forms of hormones, T4 and T3. And we need to know how much of those are in your blood. So if your doctor doesn't run those tests, guess what? We can't diagnose you. Your body makes about 93% T4 and only 7% T3. And guess what? We can't use T4. Our body can't utilize it. So a part of our brain or a part of our body has to convert T4 into T3. And it does so in the liver. So the liver converts T4 into T3. Now you might wonder what the difference between T4 and T3 is. T4 is 1 molecule of tyrosine and 4 molecules of iodine. T3 is 1 molecule of tyrosine and 3 molecules of iodine. So your liver removes one of the molecules of iodine and turns it into T3. Now once that's happened, our body still can't utilize T3 because it's called a bound hormone. And what I mean by that is there's kind of a hard shell around that T3 hormone, kind of like an M&M. Think of an M&M. Then you got a hard candy coating and you want to get to that chocolate in the middle. So we have to remove that hard coating to turn T3 into free T3. Free T3 is the actual hormone your body uses. That's what goes into the cells. And I bet you can't guess what part of the body is responsible for turning that into there. And it is a healthy gut system. A healthy gut system. So if you don't have a healthy gut, meaning you don't have a good large intestine, small intestine, gallbladder, or stomach, if those things don't function properly, guess what? You can't make the proper amount of free T3. So there's a lot of steps in thyroid, and all of those steps have to be checked. The only way to do that is to run all 8 tests. If your doctor doesn't run all of these numbers, you as a patient have no chance of getting better whatsoever, because you can't even get properly diagnosed. What I want to stress for you is this. At the bottom of this video, there's a link that you can click on to request a free consultation with me. I want to sit down with you, go through these things if you have any of them, bring your old blood work to me, and let's look at you and let's see where the doctors have mistakenly diagnosed you, what they've missed. We'll do some simple examinations neurologically to see if your brain is involved, and we'll determine what your actual cause is for your condition. We don't want to just keep throwing pills at a patient. That treats symptoms. We're interested in treating cause. My best advice to you is get to the source of the problem, and the only way you can do that is to go to somebody who understands those things. That somebody is me. I will help you with that condition. Let's sit down, diagnose you properly. We may order proper blood work for you if we need to. If you've never had the proper testing done, we'll get that set up for you. Let's diagnose you properly so we can begin changing your life today. So click on that link below, request a free consultation with me. Let's sit down and see how we can begin changing your life and giving you your life back. I'm Dr. Jeff Smith. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.